All right, so this is Ethereum, ETHUSDT, and the overall market structure from the daily time frame is actually bullish. We can clearly see that. So there's no point of catching a reversal, and at the same time, this is the all time all time high of Ethereum right here. So one thing I want to be looking at in the daily time frame is where I can support the price and buy and come and take out the all time high. In daily time frame, there is actually nothing much because some of you will be marking the wrong fair value gap. Look at this. Let me explain something here. You see, we have one fair value gap here. This is one. We have two fair value gaps here. We have two here. So we have two fair value gaps overlapping one another in the daily time frame. One has already been tested. So you shouldn't take this second one that has not been tested as being valid. Okay, you shouldn't take it as being valid because when two or three fair value gaps overlap and one has been tested, trust me, the rest is being violated already. It will not work. So this is just a big secret about trading. I'm not going to be using this fair value gap. Okay, but does that mean that there's no other price support here? There can be. Okay, so in still inside the daily time frame still you can see that there is this whole thing is not structured. How will the week to be testing week? I will call this liquidity. Going to the 4 hour time frame, I still can't see anything much. Okay, okay, we have two fair value gaps overlapping here. This is not, you see, this is one fair value gap, this is two. There is no fair value gap following, there's no fair value gap here. So this is where this fair value gap ends. This is another two sets of fair value gap, which makes it valid. So sometimes when you see two fair value gaps in the higher time frame, like the one we saw in the daily time frame being tested, it's better you go into a lower time frame and see if there are still other fair value gaps that have not been tested. So this is a 4 hour fair value gap here. So this is the point one of price support. And not just that, we have an inversion fair value gap here, a 4 hour inversion fair value gap. We all know the story behind an inversion fair value gap. This is an inversion fair value gap. 4 hour fair value gap, inversion fair value gap in the same place. Will it hold? Well, I don't know yet. So that is why sometimes you have to keep searching. You have to keep. What again can I see in a 3 hour time frame? We have liquidity here. The price might not respect this whole zone because liquidity is resting below it. What again can I see here? We have this 3 hour fair value gap. Okay. So all what you just have to do is just to mark all these points in your chart. Once you mark all these points in your chart, then you should be expecting price to return back there. And look at this inside 3 hour. We have this free fair value gap. It was not tested. It was done right here. We have liquidity resting below it, and if liquidity is not taken out in the market, trust me, it will be hard for the markets to move. Before you see an aggressive push up, you must have seen a lot of liquidities being taken out, which some people will call manipulation. Okay, so this is 3 hour fair value gap. So inside this whole thing that we have, you have point one. Why I'm not really supporting this price uh, is the fact that under its liquidity is built below. No matter how many PD arrays you have in a zone, in as much as liquidity is building below, then it has a 50% chance of holding. And does not mean it's not hold. All what you just have to do is just to wait for a price support. Point one, point two, point three. Any of it, once they take out this liquidity, they can take out the second one and they can buy us up. In fact, if there is still set of liquidity building here. So maybe what they are doing is that they are building the liquidity, they are building the liquidity. Maybe then yes, this can be tested because this is like an historical liquidity building. They built this whole liquidity, they bought up. They built another liquidity, they bought up. They built another liquidity, they bought up. So maybe they will buy up and then come and test this whole place. Nobody knows. But just bank this out as your point of interest, what you want to see in the market today.